Well done. Okay, next person to read, Anna, please.
Please would you move up, the little boy said to Prue. There was plenty of room, but she still slid over towards her mother, leaving a strip of seat between them. Richard's large pale eyes inspected it carefully. Then he bent down and lifted a pile of books back onto its bony knees, hugging them to his chest as if to ward off blows. Roger and Prue.
Okay, that's the start of the next sentence, okay? So who is Prue sitting between in the back of the car? 2 marks. 2 minutes. Okay, so who is Prue sitting between? Richard and her mother. I know this because it says that she slid towards her mother after he asks her to move. Okay, next person to read, please. Isabel, I'm just going down the people who have not read yet. Charlotte, please.
Onto his bony knees, hugging them to his chest, as if it ward off blows. Robert and Prue had looked at the books last night in the Edinburgh Hotel. Most of them were about bugs and beetles, and there was one about Scotland too. Mr. Dixon was impressed. Your cousin's obviously been doing his homework, he said. Look at all these insects, mosses, the land and people of Scotland. This is what you two should have been doing. When you're going to spend a month in a place like Garrymore, it's as well to...
Thank you. What has Richard been reading about to prepare himself for a month's stay at Ballymacleish? 2 marks, so 2 things, please. 2 minutes. Okay, so what has Richard been reading? So we've got some highlighted suggestions here in order to prepare himself for the stay at Ballymacleish. We've got the wording of the question in your answer there, so that's good practice. Richard has been reading about bugs and beetles. He's been reading about insects and mosses. He has also been reading about the land and people of Scotland. So there we have your 2 marks there. Okay. Next person to read, please. Could I have Sparsha, please?
And beetles. And there was one about Scotland too. Mr. Dixon was impressed. Your cousin's obviously been doing his homework, he said. Look at all these insects and mosses, the land and people of Scotland. This is what you two should have been doing when you're going to spend a month in a place like Garrymore. It's as well to know something about it. Prue was cross. Dad didn't often sound like a school teacher, even though he was one. Anyways, she had been too busy practicing for her gold award down at swimming pool to do much reading, and Robert had only just come back from his school camp.
Thank you. 3 marks. What makes Prue cross about Mr. Dixon's words? Try and answer in full sentences. Use the question in your answer, the wording of the question. 3 minutes from now. Okay, so thank you again for those of you who have answered. Prue is cross about Dad's words because she didn't have time to do any reading like Richard had. She'd been too busy due to a practice she was putting in for her gold award. Also, she knows that Robert had only just returned home from camp and also hadn't had time to do any reading. Prue thinks that Mr. Dixon is just not being fair, being very strict.